Because Paul says these words. Paul says, I got a thorn in my flesh. Paul says this, it's not just any type of thorn. He says this thorn is a messenger from Satan that has a design. Its purpose is to torment me. Other translations say to buffet me. And he says, I asked God 3 times to remove it. But instead of removing it, God told me these words, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is made perfect in weakness. Because many of us have found ourselves with thorns we can't get rid of. Thorns, sickness we can't get rid of. Stuff in our lives we can't get rid of. People. We can't get rid of. And it means this, the thorn represents that which you do not have the capacity to handle on your own. Oh, help me, Lord. The thorn represents what you ain't got the power to deal with. The thorn represents that which is too much for you to handle. In other words, what I'm dealing with right now has taken me to my limits and beyond, and now I've gone as far as I can go. It's too much for me. I can't handle it. In fact, the reason I asked the Lord to remove the thorn is because I couldn't remove it myself. Because if I could have removed it, I would have done it a long time ago. But the reality is I'm now dealing with something. I'm now faced with something that when I look at it, I know for a fact that it is beyond my capacity. It is beyond my bandwidth. It is beyond my ability. So Lord, I came to you asking you about this thorn because I can't handle it on my own and I need you to help me with it. Well, the sermon today attempts to provide us with some good news. There's good news for the weak. There is good news for the people with the thorn. I know we've been fasting, we've been praying, I know we've been seeking God for some things, but this message is good news for the folk that are going to end this week, in this fast, in prayer, and God is still going to say no. Preacher, what's the good news in that? The good news, y'all, is that in spite of the no, God is still going to do something for you. Because the no does not mean inaction. The no simply means I ain't doing what you want me to do. Well, what does that mean? Let's talk about it. God says, Paul, I have 2 choices. And I'm going to make the best choice that I believe is best for you. I can take the thorn away, or I can keep the thorn in. So this is what I decided to do. Paul, I decided to let you continue to deal with the thorn. Because Paul, if I simply took away the thorn, all you could do is be grateful to me because I would have done what you asked me to do. But by leaving it there, I did something else. Now you don't just have a request. You have a mentality that says, if I'm going to get through this thorn which I do not have the capacity to handle on my own, I'm going to have to lean and depend on God. Lord, have mercy today. In other words, God is saying, for you to get through this, the requirement is going to be for you to lean and depend on me. If you're going to get through this, you're going to have to rely on me. If you're going to get through this, you're going to have to submit to me. me. So I'm going to put you in a position where you have no choice but to lean on me or not make it. I'm telling somebody something you don't want to hear on this Sunday morning. God gave me a word for the person with the thorn. You've been spending so much of your time trying to get rid of the thorn, and God might be trying to get you to live with the thorn. I don't want you to get rid of the thorn. I want you to draw closer to me. I want you to lean on me. I want you to desire me. I want you to let me help you handle this thorn, because yes, you ain't got the power to deal with it. Yes, you don't have what you need to handle it, but you do have me. And as long as you got me, you can make it through whatever comes your way. Last year, I had a challenging semester in school. Those who've done doctoral work, look, y'all, I had to take quantitative research. Anyone that has done this knows there's math associated with this. I ain't done math since undergrad. I ain't trying to deal with no math. I'm talking about statistics, data, numbers, research conclusions. This ain't fun. I started getting behind in some of my assignments. I couldn't keep up because I had other stuff going on, namely an infant. And so my professors did something. I reached out to them. I said, I need a little help. They said, don't feel any pressure. Get it in when you can. As long as all your work is turned in by the end of the semester, you'll be fine. I said, Shana na na. Help me, Lord. In other words, my professor told me that I understand that you've reached your capacity with all the other demands that you have in your life. And even if you wanted to get it done right now, you wouldn't be able to do it. So I'm going to do for you what you cannot do for yourself and give you an extension. The work is still due, but now you have what you need to get it done. I'm about to shout in this. That's all grace is. You can't do it on your own. You can't make it on your own. It's too much for you. You have too much involved. You've reached your capacity, but this is where grace comes in. Grace makes up the difference. Grace does what you can't do. Grace accomplishes what you can't accomplish. In other words, you can't save yourself, but by grace you are saved through faith. And that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. In other words, I need some grace to deal with the thorn. Woo! Here's the reality. Here's the reality. Come on, y'all. If God took the thorn away, some of y'all would be so arrogant because you would believe that you got through on your own ability. If God took it away, you'd be feeling pretty good about your own self, and that's a dangerous place to be. Because don't ever get to the point where you forget about what the Lord has done for you. And so for some of us, God has to keep that thorn in to keep us humble. God has to keep that thorn in place to keep us in the right mindset. Because if the thorn wasn't there, we wouldn't pray. If the thorn wasn't there, we wouldn't lift our hands and be in worship in the sanctuary. So God says, I got to keep the thorn there so that you will always recognize that if it had not been for the Lord working on your behalf, you wouldn't be where you are. God says, I need you to live with your thorn.